Pac-12 is moving and grooving again. And it appears that Texas State is the favorite to make the Pac-12 a legitimate FBS conference. They'll be the 8th team added. A little bit of it should happen rather quickly. We're on June 16th as it stands today. And they've got until Texas State, in order for them to join in the 26-27 season, they need to be invited or accept an invitation by July the 1st. Otherwise, their buyout doubles. You know what Texas State's buyout is from the Sun Belt?
Probably not much.
It's currently $5 million.
Yeah. I mean, relatively not much, I guess.
So July 1, it goes to 10. Wish we could have gotten in on that buyout deal. Goodness gracious.
Sorry.
What is ours? 10 right now, and then it goes to 25 if you don't give 2 years heads up.
2 years heads up, yeah.
Ugh. Anyway, sounds like Texas State maybe the front runner to wrap that up. But our boy Pete put in a whole section just about Memphis. What's next for Memphis? He did call us the most interesting chess piece in all of future realignment outside of the power leagues. Given our strong basketball program, we got 11 consecutive bowl years running. We've got significant outside financial support with FedEx and other local large companies. Basically, what he said is it sounds like to him, through his sources, there's no immediate desire to add Memphis from any of the power leagues. So that'd be in the obviously SEC, Big 10, Big 12, ACC. But he's thrown out the idea, something that we heard, I think Dan Wolken originally kind of put this out there in the fall when we initially turned down the first invitation from the Pac-12 for all sports, is that we even explored the option of football only to the Pac-12 and then basketball and all other sports to the Big East. Pete Thamel has now thrown that out as well, saying that that's a real possibility. But that it wouldn't be really seriously discussed until at least 27, 28. Thoughts on where Memphis stands, Texas State getting out of the Pac-12, and then are you a fan, Timothy, of going to the Pac-12 if it's football only and then everything else goes to the Big East?
I don't think so.
Can you handle, TJ, can you handle 4 Pac-12 After Dark games a year? Because that's all you'd get. It'd only be 4 of them.
I don't think so. Why would it only be 4?
Well, you got your 4 non-cons in football, right? You're football only. You got 4 non-cons. You got 8 conference games, and you split half of that, right? So you only got 4 road games. And probably
is this TJ the fan?
You probably wouldn't play all 4 of them that far on the West Coast either, right? Like, you get a Texas State in there, and that's fine. Yeah, TJ is the fan. What was the other? TJ is the fan or TJ is the what?
Yeah, because I think these are different questions, right? So if you said TJ the fan, could you do it? Would you want to do it? Versus TJ, the hypothetical AD or athletic department member, right? I think those are different.
We're not TJ AD. We're TJ what TJ wants.
Well, I mean, I think the biggest draw about the Pac, honestly, was it was going to be a really good basketball conference. So you kind of lose that, but I think that's okay if you're going to trade it for the Big East, right? I think that's kind of a wash, right?
Yeah.
I think both conferences, Big East or this new Pac, are going to put in 4 teams into the conference or into the tournament. Excuse me, 4-ish probably, right? So I think it's kind of a wash from that perspective. In football, you're playing probably better opponents only because you get Boise, and you don't currently have a Boise right now. right? So I mean, if you look at it from that way, yeah, it's gonna be better.
You called the basketball leagues a wash. I'd say basketball league leans Big East pretty heavily favored. I mean, I know they got Gonzaga and a couple of solid teams, but you've got more notable historically. What is happening at somebody's house? Goodness gracious!
I've got a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old who are having their nighttime routine.
Wow. I'd put the basketball league push Big East, honestly. Do you think from a football perspective, and I mean basketball, obviously, I think attendance would be helped. You think from a football, we would really see that big of an increase with bringing in a Washington State every other year, an Oregon State every other year? I mean, we saw Boise come in 2 years ago. Like, I think you're probably going to get an initial increase. I think the stadium will help with that too, right? It'll be something like people are going to want to come and see the stadium, experience that. And if you lined that up with some new opponents, I think there would probably be an initial bump. But like 2 years ago, the Boise State didn't really draw any more than any other game, honestly, that we'd ever.
Are we sure about that? Let me look at the numbers.
It was right at 30,000.
I remember it not being that big of a game, like in terms of attendance.
I thought they had 40.
No, it was just over 30. I don't even know that it got to 31. I think it was 30 and a couple hundred.
Well, the turnstile count, it's always off.
The scanners never work.
30,364 is the number I see.
Oh,
see,
and that's honestly the cream of the crop in that conference. I don't think, me personally, I don't expect much from Wazoo or Oregon State.
Yeah,
I know that they were cool a couple years ago, but I don't know.
I mean, I think it's going to be. I think it would help some, but it's not going to be like the SEC teams draw coming in here or anything like that, right? Like, I mean, I think it would be helpful if you run into Boise where they're, it has playoff implications like it may have had last year. They got a legitimate Heisman candidate on their team. They're ranked in the top 15. You could catch lightning in a bottle again and get a game day scenario where you're both ranked and it's a big time game. It's the event to be at, something like that. But I don't know that we're going to see like a significant increase.
Financially, what does it do for the Tigers?
I mean, I think that's the other interesting part, right? Like that's some of what I think Thamel talked about is last year all in, we got 11 million from the American. According to him, the new Big East deal is expected to do 7 million per school annually. So then the question becomes, does adding Memphis keep that the same, right? Or is there some sort of prorated clause that would allow them to at least get still 7 million? Or are we just taking another slice of the pie? The pie's not getting any bigger. We'll say we at least keep it the same size. They think adding us constitutes that. So you're talking about 7. Then it's going to come down to like, I don't know, what portion of the pie do you get out of the Pac-12 deal as football only? I mean, football is obviously the driver in that, but you got teams like Gonzaga who are coming in.
They're getting a full share, right? Isn't Gonzaga getting a full share?
Full share. They are.
I don't know. Is that factual?
They are.
That seems wild.
It's factual. Gonzaga gets a full share as well. What are you going to do? It's Gonzaga. It's your one move.
A full share of what, though? Right? They don't even have a deal yet.
It's going to be the proposed 7 million. They get the no. I've heard. I literally have been told twice by 2 different people that Gonzaga gets the full share, which is wild to think about. But I guess that's the only way you can get them to sign in. And it makes me think, how long until you get St. Mary's at a full share as well?
Okay, yeah, I see it now. Gonzaga will join as a full media share member. They will receive 100% share of the conference's TV deal. Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. But the other thing, like, they still don't have an official announced deal, so we don't know what the Pac-12's deal would be. But I don't know. I don't think it would be worse. I guess it depends on who they are. I don't know. There was some news relatively recently about being like 4 partners in their deal potentially with, I forget all. It was like the CW,
CW,
ESPN, TNT,
So would that mean that no more games on ESPN Plus, or is that
and PBS, I think.
PBS has been defunded?
I don't know that one's what you're looking for.
I don't know. I can't remember what they
PBS
said.
is no longer.
I don't know if ESPN was one of the teams that was in there. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Oh no, that's just for football for this season. Yeah, I don't know. They don't have a deal out. I mean, I don't know what the number would be, but you would assume if you can join the Big East and get a full share by joining that at 7, I mean, you'd only have to get 4 in a Pac-12 deal to be the same. And I think the Pac-12 deal would be more than that. And if Gonzaga is getting a full share as basketball only, then certainly you as the football only member would get a full share. That would seem ridiculous to me for Gonzaga to get a full share and not us. So
yeah,
even if it's like something like 7-7, you're coming out ahead.
What do you mean by coming out ahead there?
Based on what you would get with the AAC.
I'm just saying you would be getting 14 a year compared
Instead
to
of
11.
Right.
I mean, I'm not getting down in the nitty gritty and the added 4 different, now you got 4 West Coast games potentially a year that you're traveling to, but I can't imagine that's. I don't know. I guess maybe sending a football team out to the West Coast could potentially eat up
a lot of money, man.
Amount of money.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because I do think if Memphis is interested in theoretically joining the pack, I mean, I think it was Thamel you said, points out that Memphis is clearly the number one, the biggest domino kind of going forward. Where I think it's interesting is that it doesn't seem like the pack has any interest in taking on Tulane or a Tulsa.
USF.
It's not US. I said Tulsa. I'm sorry. I was trying to say Tampa. I was thinking Tampa in my head. USF. Thank you. Because it's not like Memphis and New Orleans have a different TV market, right? They're more or less the same. I think they're pretty close. I guess it's more of which school has better buy-in, right? When the teams are doing well, like who's going to have more local engagement? You're going to have higher turnout at a Tiger game than you would a Tulane game kind of situation. That's my only guess, and I guess maybe USF is just too far because that Tampa market would be great, but damn, that's a far fly, I
mean, literally across the country, like
quite literally, yeah. Well, I mean, they're doing that already if you think about it, but maybe not them, but teams are doing that already.
Yeah, like Stanford did that this year, right? Like,
yeah, with a lot more money to play with.
Of course, yeah.
But if you compare them all together in terms of like looking at success, looking at things at fan base, the market size, I don't know that we can even include geography. Maybe if you want to throw geography in there for shits and giggles, you could do that. But I don't know how much that helps you. But
how much weight do
you? Does Thamel saying there's no immediate interest in Memphis from the power leagues? Is that just in what he has said, kind of pitching this Pac-12 football only, Big East, all other sports? You discouraged by that?
No, I don't think so.
Or do you look at this optimistically and like, hey, at least
there's movement.
We're being talked about, and there's possibilities of things happening.
No, I wouldn't look at it negatively in any way, right? I think that's more about everyone knows that the SEC, the Big 10, the Big 12, the ACC, all the movement's going to happen the closer we get to 2030, right? When the new contracts are out. And when I personally think everything is going to go to a tiered system, you're going to get a tier 1. All this revenue sharing stuff is going to get wild. Schools aren't going to be able to afford it. And you're going to get teams more or less bowing out of some of these quote unquote power conferences, right? I don't think you can get into a situation where Wake Forest is out there trying to compete and spending, $15 million. Yeah. Like it's just not,
Clemson and Florida State. It's like, how do you,
Yeah. You're going to have teams that can absolutely spend the full 20 or whatever the cap is, and other teams that can't. So we'll see how that works out. But to me, it seems like it's going to be the great divide at some point in time. And I think it comes closer to that 2030 time frame.
TJ, I already hear the conversation, though. I hear the Memphis fans in the comment section going, TJ, get us out of this bum-ass conference. No matter what. Who cares? No matter what.
Yeah.
Well, how much weight do y'all put behind that?
I mean, I'm all in on that. I'm real sick of this league.
Look, people aren't going to like it. We talk about how shitty the league is and how bad the teams are, yet we can't win it. So it's like, why? It can't be that bad if we can't win it consistently, right? I think that's got to have some weight in everything we're saying here. Now, maybe that's other things. Maybe you want to point fingers at coaching staff. That could be football or basketball, honestly. I mean, it's not like Penny has just had smooth sailing with incredible talent. Ryan Silverfield has incredible talent, hasn't been able to win the conference, right? This holds true for both sports.
We just won the league in basketball.
Well, one time.
Okay, we are the defending champions, and we're about to win the league in football. We're about to hold both major sports titles.
It'd be great. It'd be a great time to do it.
In the same calendar year.
It'd be a great time.
And then we might repeat in basketball. Although that one's today, I'm feeling a little less hopeful on that one.
What's happened? What's happened to make you feel less hopeful?
We just still haven't heard anything about Dane, so I don't think it's happening. Although I will say, the basketball team put out like a what'd they say? Something Friday. It was on Friday with them all dancing together. If this team has nothing else, they at least got chemistry. They seem to like each other a lot.
I thought he was going to say dance moves.
Well, those as well. But Friday vibes. Did you guys see this video?
Yep.
Mm-mm.
I mean, tell me those guys don't like each other.
Yep.
As an athlete, the best teams you've been on have been the ones that
like each other.
Have Friday vibes like this.
Well, you saw. Did you see Sincere Parker's video? He did.
I haven't watched that yet. But look at that team.
He said, how would you describe this team? He said, dogs. Every one of us.
That takes me back to the banana boat days in the Dominican. You talk about a team that liked each other. Friday vibes.
Dogs.
Wasn't that the Thunder or the Heat? The Miami Heat?
That was the Heatles. That was the Heatles.
Oh, that was a thing with
LeBron, Dwayne, and Chris Bosh.
Yep.
Yeah. And somehow Carmelo was supposed to be on the trip, but he hadn't shown up yet. But he's always thrown in as one of the banana boat boys, even though he wasn't on the banana boat. It wasn't Chris Bosh. Who was it?
Yeah, it was.
LeBron, D-Wade. No, it wasn't.
Chris Paul?
Yeah, it was Chris Paul. Yes.
What was it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I don't sound right.
It might have been Chris Paul.
Yeah. LeBron, D-Wade, Chris Paul, and Gabrielle Union on the front.
Well, this is the wifey.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I mean, if something had happened within especially the basketball side of the league, where I would say there's another team that has a shot, there is no other team that has a shot to win this league. Like, they just don't. I just think this Memphis team is.
You're saying this year?
Yeah, like even as
metrically right now, Kenny, South Florida is better than us.
Okay, cool.
And they got a coach that knows how to beat Penny Hardaway in his own house.
Sure,
and not just beat him, whip his ass.
Great.
On a Sunday afternoon at 3:30.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Did that not happen? Factually.
Yeah, I don't. It's too soon to call that, guys. I mean, way too soon. We'll see. Let's watch a couple of games and we can go about something there, right?
Let's watch the St. Jude Tip-Off Classic and make massive judgments about the team like we did last year.
Right.
They can't score.
We were the worst shooting team in the country, and then we led the country in 3-point shooting for 75% of the year.
The narratives coming out of the Alabama and North Carolina game.
What's the date of that game?
That's fair, though.
I don't think it's been announced yet.
I kind of forgot about that freaking cow coming back.
Yeah, man.
You know, it's
Should be
really
big.
weird. You mentioning that, I just remembered this. A couple of nights ago, I had a random dream that we traded coaches and Calipari became our coach and Penny went to coach Arkansas. I don't know why that happened, but I had that as a dream.
Oh, man. I'm good.
Didn't get it. I don't know what happened. We didn't get any games played or anything. It was literally just like I saw 2 press conferences on like Sports Center with them talking about the coaching trade. And then I woke up. And I woke up thinking it was real for a minute. I almost texted you guys. One of those crazy fever dreams, you know. All right. Well, we'll see. Conference realignment's alive and well. And if anything happens, if Texas State is truly the Pac-12's next move, I would anticipate that happening in the next like 2 weeks, so that their buyout doesn't double.
We'll see. I don't know. Here's the, you know what's tricky about that before we move on? It's tricky because they can't nail down a deal without having a team like Memphis, because they need to add in like, hey, look, here's a top 50. What is it? DMA? What's the acronym?
Damn.
Initialism. DMA. TV market. No, it's like the TV market, right? So Memphis has the top 50 TV market. You can add that to your media deal, right? And you can say, hey, look at this. This is X many more TVs. People in Memphis love college football. Trey's screamed this from the mountaintops for years now, that Memphis watches more college football than most other teams, right? Or most other cities. So you have that going for yourself. So the Pac desperately wants Memphis because they want that TV market. They need that sweetener. But we as Memphis, we don't want to get bogged down by this grant of rights. I don't need you to put a handcuff on me saying, hey, if you do this, you have to sign this grant of rights and you're locked down for arbitrary number, 8 years, 10 years, 12 years, whatever it may be, right?
You think that's a sticking point for the Tigers?
It should be.
Why?
Yeah, it should be.
Why?
Why not? It's so hard to get out of a grant of rights. We would literally be doing this for 3 years with Florida State and Clemson.
No, I understand that, but why would they? What in the landscape of how things are going with the rest of college football, the Power Four, makes you think that the Tigers should put themselves in a position where they can? You think the Big 12 or ACC is going to come calling? They've had their shot.
No, I don't think they've had to. They haven't had to do anything. They just went out and said, hey, SMU, we'll take you on as a charity case. And guess what? SMU walked in, played for free, and then won the damn conference. I'm pretty sure they won the conference.
No, they lost.
They lost in
that. They played in it, right? They played in the championship game for it. Why spend the money for Memphis? Why go out and do that? You have no need. You're still trying to figure out what you're going to do. And all of this, everything is going to reset in 2030, right? Literally everything, you're going to hit a refresh button. So I don't know why Memphis would want to, unless, asterisk here, I don't know why Memphis would want to sign a grant of rights and lock themselves in for this long-term deal for the $7 million, $8 million, whatever it's going to be in the Pac. Maybe it goes up to 8 or 9. I don't know. And then, college football hits the reset button, but you're locked into a grant of rights. You can't show any of your games on any TV without the Pac's without them giving you their approval, right? And Memphis doesn't have the cash to buy themselves out. And I think that's what a lot of people are trying to make this argument of, just sign it now and we'll figure it out at the end of the day. Well, Uncle Fred is already building you a stadium, right? You don't have that many donors in Memphis that can just come out and spend that money left and right. You're building the stadium renovations. They're already throwing in how much money for NIL? You have the Liza Fletcher Stadium going on. You have the Academic Village, or whatever it's called, or the Athletes Village on South Campus. There's so many projects going on right now, and they're all donor based. And guess what? Once we hit revenue sharing, we're going right back into the revenue share. We're going right back into begging donors for more money. So it's going to get to a point where this donor fatigue.
Oh,
you're going to get donor fatigue. It's already real.
Donor fatigue was 15 years ago.
You're going to the same people and begging them.
long-term donor fatigue.
For sure. And you've lost a lot of those donors, right? They moved down south. Well, I can think of one right off the top of my head that moved down south. Now that's
R.C.
money
Johnson.
right off.
Yep.
Oh, I said donor, not pain in the ass.
Oh.
Goodness gracious.
I have a counter that I want to, and it's a counter argument based on previous conference realignment conversations that we've had on this show. Your entire frustration with the way Memphis has handled things in the past is stop being the Big 12's booty call, right? Like, so are we now then turning ourselves into the Power Four, whatever may happen booty call of like, it could potentially happen. We've got something in front of us potentially now that puts on a bigger stage, more money, maybe a conference that is aligning itself as the best of the rest. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, so are we advocating here to just go, we're going to push this away with the potential of maybe they'll call us. We're going to hit you we're going to slide in your DMs all the time. And hey, call me. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that that's my counter argument is, are you advocating to turn Memphis back into a booty call for these other leagues?
No. So I think you have to look at this from what you want to consider your time frame, right? So let's say you look at it from the next 10 years. And Memphis is going to make the 7 million, 8 million, whatever it may be from the pack, right? Let's say you accept that deal, you take that. At a certain point in time, if there is that refresh button hit on college football in general, how much money are you giving up from the time that reset button happens to when that grant of rights is out? Because we already
walk me through what the reset looks like. Walk me through what the reset in the greatest opportunity for Memphis. What would the reset in 2030 look like?
Oh, you've already heard the Big Ten and the SEC are trying to join together, right? They want to make this upper echelon conference. It's going to be a situation of the best of the best. You know, the Ohio States, the Georgia, the Michigan, all of them want to play each other. Mm-hmm. I guess you could put Alabama in there if you wanted to. I don't, are they still the best? Who knows anymore? Right?
Sheesh, by that point,
who's to say? But that's the idea, right? At some point, that's what a conference is going to be. It's going to be the best of the best. And I do think you're going to get cherry picking, right? You're going to get the Florida States and the Clemsons. They're going to go to the super league, the super conference, the tier one, whatever you want to call it, right? They're going to be here. Where's everybody else go? You know, Rutgers isn't a great school by any means. Like, no one's scared of Rutgers. No one is scared. Well, Maryland, from a football perspective, not that great of a football school, but there's Indiana, for example. Granted, they're better now than they have been lately, in years past, I should say, I guess. Illinois. These are all teams that are just soaking up this ridiculous amount of money, and they're not doing really anything to deserve it other than you have a big booster in Maryland and you're in a great TV market. Illinois kind of just got pushed in because they've been around. Indiana, same conversation. Maybe some basketball stuff at play there, but you get what I'm saying. These schools have just kind of been leeching off these other programs, and it's going to get to a point where it comes down to finances, and everyone says, we want the biggest piece of the pie, right? We are the premier things. You guys are just a sideshow, more or less. And I think that's what's going to happen is you're going to get this tier one, tier two type of situations, especially with revenue sharing, right? We've already kind of touched on it. An Iowa State. Can Iowa State afford to pay the same as all the other Big 12 powerhouses? I don't think so. I don't know about Kansas State, what kind of money they have lying around. I couldn't imagine Kansas State has the money to hang, anywhere near the cap of 20 million in revenue sharing. So at some point, these schools are going to break off. And I think that's where Memphis wants to be. I think that's where they should be looking for. It's not let me into the SEC, let me into these power conferences that we know today. It's let me into that tier two grouping. Let that be my ceiling. And I think if you can get that, you're fine. Right. I think that's what we should be striving for.
So you think a potential move to the Pac-12 signing, whatever, doesn't allow for that to happen?
Well, I mentioned an asterisk earlier. I think it just depends on what you can work out from a conversation from the contract perspective, right? So if you're in the Discord, Degrums and I were talking about this earlier. If the grant of rights is, hey, it's 10 years long, if Memphis comes in as this premier media sweetener, if you will, I couldn't imagine them wanting to the media aspect of it all. I couldn't imagine them wanting to give you X special number of dollars for Memphis, but Memphis is on a shorter deal than everybody else. Like, why would I pay you $2 million more per school now that Memphis is here, and then Memphis is also going to leave first kind of situation? Like, you can't lock them in. I think you kind of get yourselves in a tricky situation there. So I can't imagine the Pac being interested in giving Memphis a shorter leash or a shorter time frame and holding everybody else to this 10-year deal. So I don't think Memphis should take it. I really don't. And, maybe I'm crazy, and I'll accept that, right? This is more money right now. It puts you in a better conference. You're playing better opponents. I don't know how long the Pac-12 is going to have an auto bid, right? I think they get one for like a year or so. I don't know how long they get that auto bid in football. So I don't know at the end of the day if Memphis ran through a bad AAC, if they have a better or worse chance of making the playoff than if they went 8-1 or not 8-1. That's bad math. 7-1 or anything in the pack, right? I don't know which one's going to be the better chance of getting that last playoff spot, but it's tricky.
I think
right?
the interesting thing about it is going to be seeing what happens for all of this to happen in 2030. This great reset, the tier level things you're talking about. You have to imagine there's probably going to have to be some pretty extended legal battles with these schools and conferences against the NCAA.
Sure.
And so you have to wonder if what kind of precedent is going to be set over these next 4 or 5 years that will make getting out of those kinds of grant of rights and all those extended 10-year grant of rights that you're kind of projecting for the Pac-12. You got to wonder if that's going to be what that's going to look like, if there's going to be right now. Yeah. It would seem right now in the landscape that we're in right now, that would be something tough to fill, to feel comfortable about signing. But you have to wonder what in the next 4 years, 5 years, is it going to look like the process of basically restructuring this entire thing? It's not going to be just NCAA is not just going to roll over and say, meh, okay. There's going to be fights, right? And I wonder if maybe some of those fights are going to make the battle that Memphis has to get into, if they choose to do this route with the Pac-12, make it easier for them. I don't know. There's just so much up in the air. I just think you look at what's in front of you and you say what's in front of them potentially right now with the Pac-12 is better than what they're in, better than the AAC.
Sure. Yeah. I don't think anyone's going to argue with that, right? I don't think anyone looks at it and says, "Oh, Boise State, who doesn't want to play them? Are we sure they're better than Tulsa,
Rice,
right?
UAB.
Rice, like who? No one's debating that. I mean, I guess you probably could in a way, but
no, you can't.
I don't know anything how Boise is supposed to be next year, but they're probably going to be pretty damn good because they are pretty damn good. No, I don't think anyone's going to say that it's not a better conference right now, right? Your resume would look better playing that future Pac-12 conference than it would playing the AAC conference. But
I say forget I say
it's
the resume,
a gamble, man. It's a big gamble, and I think it's a financial thing that Memphis knows that they can't really get into that battle. I honestly think that's what it comes down to.
Take risk, baby.
Yeah. I think you have to take risks in this day and age of the NCAA. I think you have to. I think you have to believe in yourself, believe in your athletic department, and just you have to make choices. Sitting back on the sidelines and saying, maybe, I don't know, we'll see what happens. We want to position ourselves. We've been positioning ourselves for 30 damn years. It's like, it's time to go. It's time to do something.
Well, it's not the same thing, though. It is taking a risk, right? I think that's what I said earlier. It depends on what your time frame is, right? If your time frame is 5 years, Yeah, you take the move to Pac-12, right? Straight up. Why would you not? It's more money. It's better conference. We just talked about it.
Yeah.
But if you're taking a risk saying I'm going to pass on a bird in the hand for 2 in the bush, if you're going to do that kind of situation, it's taking a risk by bypassing on that to look down the road for the college football reset and not being locked into this crazy grant of rights.
We've just
So
been burned.
It's the same argument.
We've been burned by the bush for so many years that I'm just
sure.
kind of like, okay, like I don't want to get burned again by the bush. We got what's in our hand. Let's go. Let's do it.
Well, if you got what's in your hand, accept the Americans pay and just roll with
And
that.
there might be another bush.
There could be another bush.
Nah, I don't know if there's another bush.
Bushes are growing every single day.
It's bush season.
It's bush season.
Bush is back.
We'll see. I'm a firm believer that we're going to get the super conference, the super league, whatever you want to call it. How many teams is it going to be?
Who's the
figure that out.
the SEC president? What's
Greg
his name?
Sankey.
Thank you.
He said it. He said it a few days ago. He said it's coming. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they run college football, right? I mean,
yeah, 100%.
It's kind of sad.
it is kind of sad if you think about it. But I do think it, honestly, at the end of the day, depending on how many teams are in this Super League, it's the best thing for Memphis. I'll be honest.
I don't disagree.
Because Memphis is never going to be a Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State. I think you just have to admit that as a fan, right? But can they be the tier 2? Yeah, I think they can. I think they can compete with the tier 2, right?
Can they be the Wake Forest? Can they be the Wake Forest?
They should be way damn better of a Wake Forest. You know what I mean?
Force's ass. We're tier 2 on college football 26.
Is that true?
Yeah, we were last year too.
Wow.
We were tier 2 team.
I think this could open up into a deeper conversation. Like if you put out, I don't know, let's say I think the number going around is 40 to 60. So let's just say 50 teams. You pick the top 50 teams in college football and not
For the
like
Super League.
Yeah, for that Super League. Like you go ahead and pick them up, set them aside, and then go ahead and make your tier 2 league, make your tier 3 league, right? I don't know if you're going to do 50 teams per or anything like that, but I think it could be an interesting conversation. I think for the most part, we'd all have the same information, or the same teams in our super leagues, but I don't know.
50 seems like a lot. I was thinking like
50 does seem like a lot.
24.
Well, but that's the number they're throwing around, right? That's not us. Well, 24, that's one conference. That's just the SEC. That's talking about the SEC and Clemson and
yeah, but not every SEC team deserves to be in it.
Well, you know,
right?
that's
why would
that's
Vandy be in the Super League?
Why are they in the SEC now?
Super League?
Why would South Carolina be in the Super League?
Well, South Carolina has the best college quarterback, so that's why. They ain't going anywhere. You got to think TV markets. How much does that play into this stuff too?
Oh God!
Freaking TV markets. We're taking a break before we get into TV markets. We're going to come back.
Jesus Christ!